Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Dutch flatmates Kropki Threes. Now, I'm going to confess that I feel like we don't really feature enough puzzles from Flinty. Every puzzle that we've ever featured on this channel, frankly every one that I've actually played off the channel, has always been absolutely fantastic, and I just don't think we feature enough of them. So I'm really excited to be back to this Dutch flatmate series. We've played quite a few of them before on here, but my usual experience is that they're actually quite difficult. But this one, thankfully, has got a 1-star difficulty rating, so it should be right up our alley. Do let me know if you feel the same way as I do, that we really should be trying to feature more of Flinty's puzzle, in which case I will aim to do so. Anything else to say about today's puzzle before we get started? Not really. I think it's just, let's get into the rule set, because it can be a little bit confusing if you haven't played with Dutch flatmates before. Obviously in the background there we've got a classic Dutch scene, sorry to anyone who is Dutch, about playing to the stereotype with canals, lovely rows of terraced houses, and the windmill in the background. Let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with Dutch flatmates Kropki Threes by Flinty. Am I thinking the font size for this looks a bit... No, it's correct. It just looks a bit small for me today for some reason. The obligatory digit in the beginning, just to make sure that the recording is on. Yeah, it is not on. I am glad I did do this. So, bear with me. Right, and back. Let me just check. Yeah, so I'm fairly sure I know what is the problem. But anyway, let's leave that aside. Rules-wise, we've got normal Sudoku rules apply, Dutch flatmates, black Kropki dots, but they're in a 1-to-3 ratio, and white Kropki dots in a difference of 3. Now, if you know what all of that means, you know what to do. Link in the description down below to play. On the off chance that you don't, here's a quick walkthrough. Normal Sudoku rules, place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row. Every column, of course, every 3x3 box, so nothing unusual here. Dutch flats. So every 5 in the grid must have a 1 directly above it or a 9 directly below it. It may have both, but it doesn't need both. So let's make this concrete. If there is a 5 in here, I would have to have either a 1 or a 9 in the specific direction, 1 above, 9 below. Obviously, I could also have both. What I couldn't do is have something like as follows, where neither is around. Every 5 has to be accompanied with either 1 or a 9 or both. Digits separated by a 3 black Kropki dots are in a 1-to-3 ratio. So if this 1 is in here, this cell would have to be in a 3-to-1 ratio, literally 3. If it's a white Kropki dot, it must have a difference of 3. So that 9 in here would essentially mean this would have to be a 6, so that it is a difference of 3. There are obviously multiple options, so let me take a different one. Not a bad, like not a great setup, because I think the digits I picked would have a few different answers. Where am I going with this? Problem is, every one of them are very restricted, that it will start to solve if I try and show you the fact that obviously there could be multiple options. That's the only thing that I wanted to illustrate. Anyway, as always, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. Right. The 3 in a series. So Kropki dots in multiples of 3s, there are essentially 2 groups. The 1, 3, 9 group and the 2, 6 group. There is nothing else that works on black Kropki dots that have a 3 in them, multiples of 3s, or 3-to-1 ratio more importantly. Essentially, if I try a 4, 3-to-1 ratio would put a 12 next to it, because you couldn't do 1 and a third as an example. So it's literally only these 5 digits that are viable. If you have 3 that are in sequence or essentially can't repeat, well, it can only be the 1, 3, 9 group. So we have our break-in pretty much immediately. These are 3s because they have to be in the middle, and it's surrounded by a 1, 9 pair. The 1, 9 pair only has a couple of options. So the 9 could only lead up to a 6, the 1 could only lead up to a 4, so this is literally a 4, 6 pair. 1, 3, 9, and this actually looks forced. So if you think about modulus 3, you have 3 groups of digits, 147, 258, and 369. Essentially, if you're adding 3 to each one, you end up with this set of 3, and we're clearly after 3 different digits in here. Now, because we've got 1, 3, and 9, 147 is not viable, 369 is not viable, so this can only be 2, 5, and 8. The 5 is in the middle. That's true for both ends. These are a 2-8 pair. Nothing right now, by the way, suggests that these would be different, for example, or that these would be different. So we're going to have to progress with the solve a bit more before we can get there. Am I missing anything obvious? I mean, the rest of rows 2 and 8, I am missing something obvious. I'm missing a lot of things that are very obvious. I forgot about the Dutch flat rule. We'll come to that in a second. Just before I lose Sudoku, which I very frequently forget, these are 4, 6, and 7. I'm only allowed one of the 4 6s in here, because the second one is there. So one of them is definitely in here, and then this is 4, 6, 7. And same exact logic applies to row 8. One of them is there because I can't have both of them here. And then again, 4, 6, 7, with a definite 7 in these two. Right. What I spotted, of course, is that I have totally forgotten about the Dutch flatmate rule set. Whenever you have a 5 in row 1, you have to have a 9 beneath it. Because a 5 at the top here, well, I can't place a 1 above it, so it has to have a 9 beneath it. Now, I have a 1-9 pair, so we know that the 5 in row 1 has to be above one of them with a 9 directly beneath it. Except this 5 is ruling out this 5. So that gives me direction. That's 5, that's 9, that's 1, that's 4, that's 6. These are not 6s, that's a 4-7 pair, and this is a 6. Now, the exact same logic could be reversed for row 9. I need a 5 in here, can't have a 9 directly beneath it, so it has to have a 1 above it. So one of these 1-9 pairs has to be kind of above the 5, and it will be the 1. Again, this 5 does the work, removing that option. It can only be in here. That has to be a 1. This has to be a 9. And therefore, this is 6. This is 4. These are not 4s. That's a 6-7 pair. This is a 4. Lovely. And in fact, that 4 gave me a 7 here, a 4 there. And that 6 gave me a 7 here and a 6 here. Lovely. Where do we go from here? Like I've been eyeing row 4, thinking there's clearly, we need to get into this at some point. I'm glad we took the time to do this first. There's clearly a 5 in one of these two cells now, just Sudoku says. And therefore, because there's no 9 under it, there's definitely a 1 above it. Again, same logic, there's definitely a 5 in here because of Sudoku. There's no 1 above it, so there's definitely a 9 beneath it. Right, that is actually probably all useful when we take a look at this. And I'm looking at this because, if you remember, the options were 1, 3, and 9, and 2 and 6. So one of these will be a 3 with either 1 or 9, and one of them is going to be 2, 6. Can't have one of them being 1, 3, the other one being 3, 9. Kind of obvious. So, options based on everything I've seen. Am I looking at it prematurely? It's not like exactly leaping off the page for me. So let's do maybe some obvious Sudoku. Like 5 and 7 have to be here. One is not there, 1 is here. 9 is not there, 9 is here. Remaining digits of 2, 8, 3, 2, 3, 8, and the 9, of course, that is everything. So essentially this is a 9 accompanied with 2, 3, or 8. This is a 1 accompanied with 2, 3, or 8. And then one of the 2, 3, or 8s is in here. Now, the 5 and 7 can't possibly be on a black 3 Kropki. It's not 1, 3, 9 or 2, 6. So the 5, 7 is off the table. This is a 5, 7 pair. And this is from 2, 3, and 8, essentially kind of the remaining digits I haven't pencil marked yet. 8 was not a candidate either. So this is either 2 with a 6 here, or 3, and it can't be 1, with a 9 there. So these are my options for this 3 Kropki dot. It doesn't exactly help me with this one yet. Of course, I'm not thinking, that can't be 5, because that can't be 1, and that can't be 9. That's definitely the 5, that's definitely the 7, this is definitely the 9, this is the 2, 3, or 8. That 5 needs to be 3 away, so this is either 2 or 8, both of which works. Do I have anything else that's obvious? Not really. Okay. Maybe I should, I mean, it's something that I've generally not gotten into enough of a habit with, is not looking enough at the 5. So let's just think about where the 5s could be. How did I end up with a 9 pencil mark that looks like? Of course, because of the 5s. Right. So no 5s, no 5s in here. That can't be a 5, because that cannot be 1, and this cannot be 9. So this is not a 5. 5 can't be on the black Kropki dot. So 5 is in actually one of these two cells. And then 5 is in one of these two cells as well. Now, if this is 5, again, the 9 can't be here beneath it, because the 9 is forced there to actually help box 3. So I'm going to say this is a 1-9 pair. The fact that this is 1 or 9 to essentially either help this 5 or that 5 tells me that's definitely the 3, that's definitely the 2, that's definitely the 6. It's a nice, elegant way of kind of finding this. I imagine intended. I mean definitely intended. This 5 would lead to 2 or 8, not 2, maybe 8. In fact, 2 or 8, 8. And therefore this is not 2 or 8, this can't be the 5, this is the 5, therefore this is the 1, that's the 9, that's the 5. Lovely. And then the 2 in here means that's not a 2. In fact, the 8 in there tells me that's just the 8. And then up on top, this would be a 1-3 pair, and this is a 2-8 pair. And then over here is a 2-3 pair. The 1 is forced to be in here, giving me a 4. This is... Why am I struggling with my scanning so much? 1. This is 3-9 pair. 3-9 is actually not very useful with a white Kropki dot like this, because both of them are pointing towards the 6. Yes, both of them are pointing... It can't be 0 and it can't be 12, so it is only 6. So it gives me a 6 that may be useful. Maybe that's part of the path we should be thinking about. And then obviously I've got 3 cells in here. Right, could this be a 5? It would force a 1 in there. Not possible. Okay, that's a bit hard to see. But remember the 1 in this column, column 3 and column 1, they're busy helping the 5 in box 7. They can't be used to help the 5 in box 4. So this 5, because it can't have a 1 above it, has to have a 9 beneath it. So the 9 would have to be there because this is occupied with a 6. That would be the 5, meaning that's not the 1 or 5. That's the 5 and 1. This is 2. No, hang on. No, it's just 1, not 5. So this is just a 4. This is not a 5. And yeah, we've made some progress. Then we've got 7-8 pair. 2-3 pair. In fact, we actually know what this is. That 9 gave me 3, gave me 9, gave me 2, gave me 3. Kind of surprised the 2 8s are still dragging, as in not resolved still. So that is a little bit unexpected, but I'm happy with the progress we're making so far. And a 7-8 not resolved, the 1-3, the 2-8 not resolved. A few surprises that they're still here. 8. And then 2, 6, 7. So far I'm just adding pencil marks. I'm not taking anything off the table. 4 is just placed. How about that? 1 is in here. 9 is down there. It can only be here. And then I need 1, actually 6. None of these. That's just 6. That's just 1. 7, 8 pair. That's 8. That's 7. This is not 7. This is not 6. Yeah, that's not 6 either. So the only place for a 6 is in here. So 2, 7, 8. This is 2, 7, or 8. We have another 2, 7, 8 in the column. Let me just think around what's going on in this box. What do we have? A 2 that I can just place. That's not 2. Which of course gives me 8, 2. 8 gives me 7. And then I'm left with a pair of 8 and 9. The 8 is in here. No, I already have an 8. How did I break this? It's going so well. Rewind. Seriously, how did I break this? Some dodgy Sudoku. I mean, a 2 seems to be here, but I deduced the 6 is there. Maybe my mistake. So I'm just going to rewind a few of these things. So the 4 is correct. Yeah. The 9 is correct. Yeah. The 6 is now forced, and therefore the 6 is now forced. Then I'm left with a 2, 7 pair, which leaves a 2 up here, a 7 there. So if I've made a mistake, I've made it earlier. Just not great. And then in the column, I have 2, 7, 8, as in a third 2, 7, 8, and a 1. That's the only place for the 1. This is not 2, it's 7 or 8. But again, the 2 is forcing this to be 8. And then I've broken it again. How? I mean, I've clearly broken it earlier, way earlier. And I'm genuinely struggling to see how. Dear oh dear. I'm kind of half tempted to ignore everything that's happening here for a second, go elsewhere, hope that I'm going to make sense of it, and then come back. Well, this 1 tells me there has to be a 9 in here. That's a given. 9 is in one of these 2 cells. Well, I made a wrong assertion earlier. The 5 that was in here was never going to be with the 1. So that forced the 9. This was always a 5, and it wasn't going to be with a 1, so that was always going to be with a 9. I think that 9 was placed a while ago, and I'm just... Yeah, it must have been as part of the start, isn't it? Because this 5 doesn't have a 9 beneath it, must have a 1 above it, which gives me 3 and 1. So I think I just missed that logic the entire game until now. And then Sudoku makes it very clear. This is definitely a 6. And the 4, 6, 7 logic in the beginning was pretty solid. And then Sudoku gives me a 1. No 3. 3. And then 4 and 7. So not 3 or 4, it can only be a 7. In fact, 4 is just here, and then 3. Then again, I'm forced with the 6. And then the column forces a 2 at the top, which forces an 8, and then I'm back to the same problem, aren't I? Am I? 2, 7 pair. 2, 7, 8, but it's definitely a 7. 2 and 8. I've reversed the 8s now for some reason. Then 7. And that looks a lot better. I don't know why I had the 2 and 8s the other way around previously. Maybe that was a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Well, that's the 8. That's the 9. And somehow that's all working now. 2 and 3. 8. 2 and 8. 7 and 8. 2. Kind of running out of things to do. It's just plug in the numbers. Not 5. My scanning seems to just get worse with the years, not better, which could be just age advancing. And then if I've not made any other silly mistakes, 6 for the finish. Fantastic puzzle from Flinty. I have no idea what I messed up here with very simple Sudoku, but hopefully you guys didn't get stuck the same way I did, and that you absolutely loved this puzzle, because it is a highly enjoyable puzzle. Just remember with these Dutch flatmates that kind of the 5s in row 1 and 9 are very restrictive and really can help you immensely with the breaking in any kind of these puzzles. Let me know if I should feature more. Hope you enjoyed, and see you back soon. Bye bye for now.